The Siberian military training complex fell silent. It was June 1968, and the International Combined Arms exercise had drawn military personnel, tactical instructors, and special operations commanders from across the Soviet Union, Eastern Bloc nations, and allied Southeast Asian countries to Russia's elite training facility near Vladivostok. Colonel Viktor Petrov sat at the center of the briefing table. His imposing presence commanding immediate attention from everyone in the austere military auditorium. At 48 years old, the Soviet Spetsnaz commander was considered one of the most decorated officers in the modern Russian military. He had served in 3 major conflicts across 2 decades, led over 200 combat operations with an exceptional success rate that was studied in military me's worldwide. Commanded elite reconnaissance units for 15 years, with distinction, and personally trained hundreds of Special Forces operatives who now served across Soviet military intelligence divisions throughout the Eastern Bloc. His tactical expertise was legendary among military professionals. His physical conditioning remarkable for his age and inspiring to younger soldiers. His leadership style uncompromising and brutally effective in producing results. In the Soviet Union and across Eastern Europe, where military prowess remained a source of intense national pride and ideological superiority, Viktor Petrov was considered the embodiment of communist warrior excellence and socialist military discipline. His training programs were studied in military me's from Moscow to Beijing to Havana, and young officers across the Warsaw-packed nations analyzed his tactics and methods religiously, hoping to replicate even a fraction of his operational success. Beside him sat his longtime second-in-command, the respected Major Dmitry Vulov, who had served alongside Petrov for 12 years through some of the Soviet military's most challenging operations, and was considered one of the finest tactical minds in reconnaissance warfare. Other panelists included a Polish Special Forces commander who had earned multiple commendations during joint Warsaw Pact exercises, an East German intelligence officer whose counterinsurgency methods were taught across Soviet military schools and had proven effective in multiple theaters, and a Cuban military advisor who had recently returned from successful operations supporting communist movements in Latin America and Africa. In the audience sat Sergeant Miguel Reyes, a Filipino military scout in his late 20s with sharp, observant eyes and calloused hands from years of jungle warfare and tactical field work. He wore a simple Philippine Army uniform, the colors red, blue, yellow, and white standing out among the predominantly Soviet-style military dress in dark olive and brown. When the moderator opened the floor for questions from the assembled international military observers, a Filipino military attaché stood and asked respectfully, "Colonel Petrov, the Philippines has been developing its counterinsurgency and jungle warfare capabilities with support from allied nations. What advice would you give to smaller military forces trying to compete at elite tactical levels against larger, better-equipped armies?" Victor leaned forward to his microphone, his expression shifting to something between amusement and condescension. He paused deliberately, letting the question hang in the air with theatrical timing that suggested he was about to deliver an uncomfortable truth that needed to be said. With all respect, Victor began in fluent English with a heavy Russian accent. Elite military operations require more than just training programs or modern equipment or allied support. They require a culture of size, strength, discipline, and tactical superiority that takes generations to build properly and systematically. Nations like the Soviet Union have this embedded in our warrior heritage going back centuries. We have generations of military tradition. We train our soldiers from youth in proper facilities with world-class instructors, advanced weapon systems, and comprehensive physical conditioning programs. Filipinos are resourceful people. Certainly, you have some history with guerrilla warfare against the Japanese and Americans, but modern military operations. This demands physical size, combat endurance, tactical discipline, and mental toughness at the highest levels. Frankly, Filipinos don't have the physical stature, the strength, or the military discipline required for elite special operations. They're too small. Average what? 5'6", 5'7". In combat, where reach, strength, and physical dominance are crucial tactical advantages. That's a massive disadvantage that no amount of training can overcome. This is a profession for physically superior warriors. The room went uncomfortably quiet with tension. Some officers exchanged awkward glances. The small Filipino contingent in the room, perhaps 6 or 7 personnel total, looked